All right, crew, catching up today, talking about stepping up your single leg exercises. And one of the cues that I find to be very effective for getting individuals to feel strong, stable, confident when performing their single leg exercises is going to have to do with how our foot is interacting with the ground. And we hear a lot of people, talking about the importance of foot strength and stability and balance. And again, I think it's really hard to talk about any body part in isolation. And so one of the important concepts to understand with the foot and what's happening at the foot is that it's really dependent on what's actually happening in my center of mass, right? Which is going to be influenced by my pelvis, which is influenced by my torso, and even my upper body positioning. And so one of the things that we commonly see is if I'm in a lunge position like so, right? And my center of mass is on this side of my foot, right? Really, I don't have a lot of pressure actually pushing straight down into the ground. So if I was to stand up in this position, right, really my force is being directed more horizontally than straight up and down or vertically. So again, one of the things that we can find is if I want to step up my single leg game because maybe someone's not feeling very confident or stable on one leg or in an exercise, is we can influence our center of mass by getting directly over whatever foot or extremity that we're working. So in this case, if I pull my knee back and get my chest more forward and think about pressing straight down through the ground or pressing the floor straight down away from me, I'm going to be much more stable on the leg that I'm actually using. We can see that in a lunge position, just like so, by getting your chest over that leg, right, and not falling backwards as I descend into a lunge. So that's really why I like reverse lunges, because when we start in a reverse lunge position, I can start by getting my center of mass over my lead leg, right, and then using that leg for as long as possible instead of falling backwards, where now my force is being directed horizontally compared to this first example where I stay stacked over this leg the entire time, my foot's pushing the ground away, and I can slowly control myself down to the ground, keeping tension on this lead leg the entire time. We're also going to see this concept show up during our single leg RDL variations, which, as you know, is one of my favorite exercises in my training program. So again, if I am unable to keep pressure directly over my foot, I'm either going to be falling backwards during that single leg RDL, which will create further compensations in the lower back and in the torso. So again, by feeling my entire foot on the ground and thinking about pushing the ground straight down away from me the entire time, I'll better be able to position my center of mass over this foot. So again, cues for you to think about during your single leg exercises. Yes, the foot is important, but it's not just about the foot, right? It's about what's influencing the foot, which is going to be where our center of mass is positioned, right? So our foot is directly in contact with the ground, producing a vertical force straight up and down instead of creating maybe unnecessary horizontal vectors. Once we progress to more dynamic movements or change of direction drills, yes, of course there will be horizontal movement, but the building blocks of our unilateral work should start with vertical force displacement in our lunges, in our single leg exercises, and even our step-ups.